Hello again, this is Dr. Jimmy, and I decided after I made the video, which I hope you've seen, about the horrors of Blumhouse return to HHN 28, but also Hollywood, the little video that I made about all of that, which was overlong, sorry. Yes, and it's still the afternoon, a little after 3 o'clock now, on the afternoon of September 1st, 2018, and so Horror Night starts very soon, this month. Yes, quite excited about that, and I made a video on the first big announcement last week, and so now I'm going to move on to the second big announcement last week, which was for the 10th and final haunted house to be announced officially for Halloween Horror Nights 28 in Orlando. And that occurred last week. I forget which day it was, but that's not important. What's important is it was done in a rather interesting way. They had a live feed, which wasn't entirely correct. It was actually for pity's sakes, I can't seem to find what I'm looking for. Anyway, what they actually had was it was actually pre-recorded. It wasn't actually live at all, but they released it as a live feed. And you saw some lovely people from Universal Orlando's creative and art and design sitting around a table discussing the event, and they brought up all sorts of interesting stuff about the various haunted houses and the various things that would be happening at Halloween Horror Nights this year. And I actually have not yet sat down through the whole presentation, which ran over an hour, but I've heard what was said, and so I can tell you that they revealed all sorts of interesting stuff. For example, they said that Stranger Things, the haunted house, will have a rather neat scene at the beginning where they use the mirror wall like they did in The Walking Dead to make it look like you're out in the forest. Mirkwood, very big, very expansive, creating an illusion of huge depth, and do some interesting audio cues so it sounds like the characters are shouting at each other from a distance across. Very nifty way of doing that. They talked about the Poltergeist house, which I mentioned in the Poltergeist cocktail video, setting it in the climactic scenes, going through the swimming pool and all of that, which I told you about, rain and lightning, and going underground. But they said that they would feature the different movies, and there's way more than 3 movies in that Slaughter Cinema. And they talked about the transitions going between movie to movie, which would be similar in some ways to the transitions they had in the horrors of Blumhouse last year, which is interesting, I'm not sure. And I heard something about a swamp yeti. I don't know what a swamp yeti is, but apparently that's going to be in the Slaughter Cinema house, which sounds exciting. So, what else was there? Oh, that's where they revealed the shadow puppets and killer clowns, which I mentioned briefly in the previous video, and that Chucky will be a live puppet, and also that in the Revenge of Chucky's Scare Zone, there would be characters from the 2009 Chucky Friends to the End haunted house. I don't know which characters, but I remember Green Army Men and Monkey, Barrel Full of Monkeys and other characters in that house, and I think that would be quite fun, especially if they do have the Green Army Men, because that references Toy Story. And there's something about Child's Play and Toy Story that I can't help but make comparisons, especially with the new thing they have in the competitions park. You know, the Toy Story Land they've opened recently. and that's the fact that you have toys that come to life, and both cases there's a little boy named Andy. Coincidence? I don't know. Child's Play was first. For whatever reason, they named the kid Andy in Toy Story. And so I've already heard the joke that, you know, the killer toys in the scare zone, they're not going to care if Andy's coming. Andy's coming! Everybody act dead. In this case, no. Andy's coming. Oh, everybody get your knife. Let's play hide the soul. What fun. Of course, the scare zone is set this year, so Andy's actually 30 years older than he was in the first movie, so he's not a little kid. But then Andy grew up in Toy Story 2, didn't he? He grew up in those things and gave his toys away to a little girl. So all of that was some of the stuff they mentioned in that video. And they also had a chap show up who designs the merchandise, and he showed off marvelous t-shirts, Stranger Things with an upside down arch on it, and a shirt that has all the different IP characters on it, and all kinds of wonderful stuff that makes you say, take my money, when you go to Horror Nights and buy all the merchandise and lanyards and neat stuff, a little poster with Chucky, all kinds of wonderful stuff. I understand this has been revealed more recently. They're going to have like 25 different shirt designs that are custom, and you can custom different characters and different things and design your own shirts. Some people are going to get all 25 bloody designs. I'd like to if I could, even I don't know if I could afford that, but if I did, I'm not going to get them all at once. I'll probably go back throughout the event. I usually get all my merchandise in one go on the Wednesday when they have the sale for Universal Orlando annual pass holders on Wednesday the 12th this year, but I might have to go back and get more stuff to get the different shirt designs custom made. I don't know how many of those. It depends on what they look like and whether I want to try to get all of them. I mean, I'm not that obsessed. Yes, I am. So that sounds exciting. But of course, during the course of that, there was also the announcement of the 10th haunted house for Orlando. And it's Scary Tales. And this rather amazes me. I had talked quite a bit in the previous video about people complaining about The Purge coming back. Well, this is the 5th time we get Scary Tales in Orlando. You know, of course, they've been spread out over a while from the very first Scary Tales in 2001. And then the second Scary Tales in 2002. The very next year, no one complained. It came back 2 years in a row, by the way, back then, not that I know of. And then, of course, the third Scary Tales house was in 2008. In 2015, they had a Scary Tales scare zone, of course. But now Scary Tales comes back for a 4th haunted house. And this will also be similar to a different scare zone they had in 2008. Remember, 10 years ago, they had the Scary Tales Once Upon a Nightmare, but they also had some fairy tale stuff in the streets, like the original Asylum in Wonderland zone and the Fractured Tales zone, which were like nursery rhyme Mother Goose characters. But they also had in the Plaza of the Stars, one of the first great scare zones in that area, which was called Path of the Wicked. And Path of the Wicked may be a strong inspiration for the haunted house, which would be interesting because that would make 2 haunted houses this year, 2 separate haunted houses that are related to things they did in 2008. So on the website, this is the logo they've set up. Oh, that green fire and spooky, and you can almost see a scary face. The house is called Scary Tales Deadly Ever After. And the synopsis here talks about the main antagonist of that house is the Wicked Witch of the West from The Wizard of Oz. And just like Margaret Hamilton that we saw in the movie, she's not going to look like the one from the actual book. If you read the book, The Wicked Witch of the West has an eye patch, only has one eye, and is an old woman, and she has a little funny gold cap that she used to control her flying monkeys. In the movie, of course, Margaret Hamilton wore the traditional witch outfit with the black dress and the black pointy hat and the green face, and that's become the image of the Wicked Witch ever since. And whenever anyone does the Wicked Witch from Oz, no matter what, it always looks like that, including the book Wicked by, his name is Maguire, I think, the novel, which was the basis of the Broadway show Wicked, which is also a Universal property, by the way. And someday, maybe Universal will release a movie musical for Wicked. I hope so. Everyone's been waiting for that for years and years and years. And maybe that'll come to Horror Nights someday. But in 2008, they had the Scare Zone, and everybody walked by would call up to the witch when she heckled you from her tower, and they called her Elphaba, which is the name they used in the musical, even though it wasn't the name of the witch in the book or in the movie. It never was used. They never really gave her a name. Disney has given the witch different names. They had a wicked witch like this in both Oz the Great and Powerful, and as well as, what was the TV show, Once Upon a Time, using the same sort of look, although they're prettier in both of those movies, like Elphaba, a little bit prettier than Margaret Hamilton, but still green. Because, like a certain little amphibian once told us, it's not easy being green. Yeah, it's not. So, also here, so the storyline is that the witch has taken over fairyland. Not Oz, apparently, but a wider sort of fairyland, shades of Once Upon a Time, right? A sort of fairy domain, a magical world. She's taken over it completely and has broken the rainbow and has twisted all the fairy tales so there's no happy ever after anymore. Ha 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 ha. I should say, ha 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 ha. And your little dog, too. Yes. And there's going to be portions with nicknames. I don't know what it means. Revenge, Toupee, Splatter. That's just code names they gave for different portions of the house. I guess it means something. Toupee is a reference to Rapunzel. Apparently, she's getting a wig snatched, just like, you know, like the witch is a drag queen. Snatch that wig off your head. Yes, wig. I didn't know Rapunzel wore a wig. Splatter. And there's different banners for some reason. For example, here's a banner for the Three Little Pigs. And it's very beautiful artwork. You see there's the bad wolf, and you see three boar heads up above. So maybe those pigs aren't little cute little babe pigs, but big vicious boars. Maybe they fight back against the wolf more forcefully. And then one for the witch herself. Look at that. Beautiful artwork. And then Humpty Dumpty. Yes, he'll be featured in the house as well. So I guess he might be the splatter, because, you know, eggs crack. Yolk, yolk, yolk. Oh, well. So he might be positively poached, or, you know, scrambled or over easy. Enough egg jokes. We'll give that to Vincent Price on the old Batman series. Exactly. You're old enough to remember that or seen repeats. But it sounds like an awful lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it tremendously, because I loved all the old Scary Tales houses, and the concept has always delighted me. And I have a thing for the Wicked Witch of the West. Especially, I'm a fan of the musical Wicked, which gives her a more positive light, and I've always sort of felt that she was wronged. That stupid little farm girl coming messing everything up with her damn pail of water. And if you think about it, you know, Dorothy did kill her sister, dropping a damn house on her. That would piss anyone off, you know. So, you know, she wants revenge on her sister, you know, being killed so horribly. And it's fucking little munchkins who wants little going around celebrating and ding-donging when her sister got killed. I can understand why she's a bit upset. So don't piss me off. I have flying monkeys. I know how to use them. All right, that's it. So it should be quite fun. I'm looking forward to a delightful Scary Tale romp again. And every Scary Tale house has been better. And of course, the Scare Zone was really awesome with all of that steampunk they did a couple years back. And this one, of course, will probably also poke the mouse in the ribs a few times. I hope so. And it should be very entertaining. But that wasn't all that was revealed on that day. And I can't finish this video without talking about a couple of other things. Because something else was revealed that very same day at the event. And let me see if I can find it. Yes, here it is. This was revealed, and this, my friends, is the Guidemap. Now, it's on the website now, but it was officially revealed that day, and the first version of the map was wrong. It had one error on it that was corrected subsequently, but at any rate, it gives, finally, no more speculation, at least not entirely. It gives locations officially of the 10 haunted houses and the 5 scare zones, and alas, only one show, as well as what attractions will be open for during the event. And for some reason, my iPad does not want to stay on. I don't know why it's doing that, but if you look here, you can see where they've got. Now, the thing about the houses is that they actually, what they show you is where the queues, entrances will be, because that's where people go to get on the queue to go in the house. So, we know that the 4 houses that will be in the scare zones will be Stranger Things. Here it says Netflix's Stranger Things, Carnival Graveyard, Rust in Pieces, Scary Tales, Deadly Ever After, and Poltergeist. But what's interesting is it had been speculated heavily that Stranger Things would be in Soundstage 25, the big one that they only used once before for a Walking Dead house in 2014, and that Poltergeist would probably be in Soundstage 22, where they had The Shining last year and The Exorcist the year before that, and that Scary Tales and Carnival Graveyard would be sharing 2 parts of Soundstage 24, and maybe that is accurate, but the queue lines are very interesting. First of all, if you look, there is no haunted house queue. Let me turn this, can you see it? They're in red. There's no haunted house queue located there, where there had been for the past several years. All of those haunted houses that went in this way, just after the Universal Studios shop by Despicable Me. There's no queue entrance there at all, and one would have thought that would be where one would go. Stranger Things goes in right here. It's marked A. That is the exact location where all the queues going into Soundstage 22 have been. Is Stranger Things actually going to be in Soundstage 22? I don't know. I would have thought Soundstage 25, because that's a much bigger stage, more area to do all the Stranger Things stuff, not a littler space like Soundstage 25. I thought Poltergeist. But maybe they want to expand Poltergeist. Maybe Poltergeist is in Soundstage 25. But the queue entrances for Poltergeist is not exactly where I thought it would be either. I would think that one might be there, but look, they've got here one for, I think that's marked B. That's Carnival Graveyard. Will go in by the Jimmy Fallon attraction, and that's where Fallon was, Jimmy Fallon, was last year, so that makes sense for Soundstage 24. And Scary Tales is up here, where you go towards the library by the, up here at the top, going towards where you see the facade of the New York Public Library and the little fire station where Ghostbusters used to be. But they also have right next to it, this D, that is Poltergeist. So why do you go to Poltergeist up there? I don't think Poltergeist is going to be in 24. It will probably be in its own soundstage. Is it in soundstage 25? Because it makes more sense for it to be if you go that way, because then you go up around and it's closer to 25 than it is to go to 22. It makes more sense to go into 22 back where the queue for Stranger Things is. So maybe the people who had speculated about these got them in reverse, and Poltergeist is in 25 and Stranger Things is in 22. I don't really know, because no one's really, officially, they haven't said which soundstage. Only that those are in the sound stages. Okay? Other than that, the rest are all cut and dry, because we have right here the queue entrance right here by Hello Kitty, or actually just between, right over here on Hollywood Boulevard, as you go into the scare zone. Right here is the queue entrance for Halloween 4, Return of Michael Myers. That's going to be in the Shrek Secondary Theater, as everyone had thought. Also, over on the other side of the park, Horrors of Blumhouse is clearly marked right there, which is where the Men in Black Extended Queue Area tent, same place Horrors of Blumhouse was last year. And if you look over here, there's 2 queues right here next to Men in Black, and those are for the 2 sprung tents. And those 2 are for Dead Exposure Patient 0 and Slaughter Cinema. And based on where they're located, my guess, actually it's more than a guess, because we've seen the exterior from an aerial photograph where they're putting up a drive-in cinema screen, so we know that then Dead Exposure is going to be in Sprung Tent 1, and the other one, Slaughter Cinema, will be in Sprung Tent 2. Now, the other 2 houses are over here. We already knew from the get-go Trick or Treat's going to be in Building 79, the former Parade Warehouse. It's not a Parade Warehouse anymore. And its queue is where that's always been. It's marked here on the map as I. So that's right here in Kids Zone. But next to it is the queue where it used to be going to Sprung Tent 1. And that one is the queue for the last house, which is Seeds of Extinction. And that is going to be in the new Parade Warehouse building. And it'll be a hell of a walk to get there from that area. Both of those 2 houses are going to, require a lot of aerobics training in advance for people like myself, because it's going to be a hell of a book all the way over there and back every night. Cardio. Fortunately, plants give off oxygen, so there'll be lots of refreshing air to breathe in the Seeds of Extinction house before the carnivorous plants make a meal of you. Oh, my goodness, I wore myself off just doing the panting, much less the walking. The Guidemap also confirms all of the scare zone locations. Of course, now that they're actually building them, we know definitely where they are, but just in case, we see, of course, right here, again using my pointer, right here is where Plaza of the Stars, that little bitty area from Despicable Me and Shrek up to but not up to Monsters Cafe, but just right here, that one little block between this and Shrek Alley is going to be the Harvest. And how they're going to pull that off, building a barn in there, I don't know if they're actually going to build a barn, maybe just sets that make roll-away sets, because a parade goes through there. Chucky, Revenge of Chucky's on Hollywood Boulevard, from about here to about there, as usual. Of course, Twisted Tradition is in Central Park, but again, we knew that already. Can you see that? Turn it so you can see the purple. Twisted Tradition is there. Nothing at all in San Francisco. Over here on South Street, running just along the waterfront primarily, is going to be Killer Clowns, and all the way up here New York Street, from all the way from this end all the way to that end, thus going almost to San Francisco, but stopping before you get to that area is Vamp 85. Thus Vamp 85 is not going to be anywhere in Shrek Alley, not Shrek Alley, what do you call it? Delancey Street. It's not going to be in Sting Alley. Those areas look clear, so only right along there. So that also means that there's wide open areas without scare zones in the entire back of the park. Now, we know that they haven't done any in Kids Zone for a while, and we also know that this area along the London waterfront, we don't want any horror nights there for Harry Potter. But where are going to be anything else? Will there be roaming hordes? We don't know yet, but if there are, San Francisco waterfront and Springfield might be where you might see something like that, maybe. And as far as we know, the only show is going to be only here at the Fear Factor Auditorium, and that's, they've already started rehearsing it, I understand, and that is Academy of Villains Cyberpunk. So that's then confirmed. All the locations for everything was more or less confirmed on the same day they revealed that. But that wasn't all. There was one other thing that was revealed on that day. What the hell just happened? Okay, that's not what I wanted. One other thing was revealed on that day. There we go. And let's make this big. Yes, one other thing was revealed along with Scary Tales Deadly Ever After. That's very important and exciting and made me happy. Very, very happy. Now, last year, Halloween Horror Nights 27, I believe, ran for something like 32 nights. Let me double check, because I still have that posted, how many times I went and what I saw. And indeed, here it is. Yes, I went 29 of 32 nights last year. So there were 32 nights, which was the most they'd ever done. And I knew before, when they announced the dates a little while back, that they're going to do 34 nights this year, which is 2 more nights than they did last year. The most nights ever, the most houses ever, how exciting. But it got even more exciting, because the same day that they had the live feed, the same day we got the guide map and learned about the 10th house officially, one more big surprise. Two additional nights have been added to the schedule for Halloween Horror Nights 28. It's now going to be 36 nights of Halloween Horror Nights this year. And here you see the map, and they added 2 more Wednesdays. I forget which 2 they were, but they're added on now. I think it was Wednesday the 19th and Wednesday the 26th of September. So now we have great deal. Of course, we do have that little hole of Thursday the 27th, which is probably a buyout night like they've had recently. But nevertheless, we have yes, 36 nights of the event. 36 nights, starting on September 14th, and the first weekend 2 nights, and then, well, actually 3 nights because it goes to Sunday, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nights in a row for the second week. My God. And then the third week, the third weekend, there will be 4 nights, a Wednesday followed by Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then after that, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, actually 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row with 5 nights in a row from Wednesday to Sunday. And then the last weekend from Halloween night to November 3rd will be 4 nights in a row. So that's quite a lot of work if you want to go every single night. You know, not only is it expensive, but it's a workout. So 36 individual nights of this event, the most nights ever, the most houses ever, the biggest Halloween Horror Nights in history. Oh my goodness. Well, except for Japan, where they do the damn thing every single night without skipping a night, from September 8th to November 4th. And they start in the daytime. They open around noon, but only go to about 10:30, but it's more hours than Orlando, so that's incredible. If you go to every single one in Japan, I don't know if you'd be alive at the end of it. At least I probably wouldn't be, but that's just amazing to me. So that was the second big announcement of last week. I've got one more video for the announcements to be completely caught up, and maybe I'll get to Horror Nights history again. Maybe not today. Alright, so until then, this is Dr. Jimmy, and have fun, and look out for witches. Yes. Have courage, have heart, have brains, and know that home is wherever you're loved. So even if you're not home, you can be at home at Horror Nights. I know I am. All right, that's my message.